national level panel discussions being held from 5th to 9th September. This is the third day of our panel discussion. Earlier, during the last 2 days, we had very interesting panel discussions on being an effective and energetic teacher and technology in teaching learning processes. And today we have another equally important topic for our panel discussion. This is preparing teachers for institutional development. Friends, this panel is led by Professor V.K. Jain, who is Vice Chancellor of Tezpur University. And then we have 4 panelists, Professor R.K. Kohli, who is VC at MIT University, and Professor Sushma Yadav, who is a member of the University Grants Commission. Professor Alok Rai is supposed to come, but in his place, I think Professor V.K. Jain has invited one of our colleagues. And we have Professor M. Krishnan, who is Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tamil Nadu. I once more welcome all of you, and I hand over the mic to Professor V.K. Jain to conduct the proceedings.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chairman, sir. It's such a privilege to be part of this panel discussion, which is being organized under the aegis of this Shikshak Parv-22. Fellow panelists, Professor R.K. Kohli, Professor Sushma Yadav, Professor P.S. Manhart, Professor M. Krishnan, and all the academics who are present online for this event. A very good afternoon to each of you. First, let me thank the University Grants Commission for giving me this privilege and opportunity to be part of this event. At a time when there is so much transformation taking place in the field of higher education, to make it more responsive to the developmental imperatives of our country, the efforts led by the Ministry of Education, and of course,
Indians have firmly believed in the concept of the Guru
developmental
from the
imperatives
ancient
of our
times.
country. The
Children
efforts
try
led
to
by the
emulate
Ministry of Education,
their
and of
gurus
course,
as their role model. Therefore, our responsibility becomes undisputed. Our beloved Prime Leader, the Prime Minister of India, rightly maintains that teaching is not a profession, but a dedication to build the nation. Indeed, our determination and sincerity will shape India's destiny. I am a strong believer of it. Therefore, our responsibility. It is widely accepted that students' success level is, by and large, the measure of our education system. Prime Minister of India. Our teachers have already proven that their potential is very high when we look at the success rate of our students. Our determination and Mr. Chairman, kindly permit me to compliment our teachers and the education system for the unmatched success in shaping the careers of most of our youth. It is well known that educated Indians abroad have earned respect all over. Over 36% of medical doctors in US, 33% of scientists in NASA, and 30% of CEOs of the 500 top Fortune multinational companies are in most of our youth. It's our education in India, that is the force behind. There is no other proof required. However, I would say that there is still room for improvement. 3% of scientists in NASA, the new National Education Policy 2020 CEOs is a sincere step top of the government of India in this direction. The effort to increase the gross enrollment ratio in India is commendable, but it should not be at the cost of quality. That is my take. I would say that there is still room for. To share my take on the theme, I will touch upon the current situation and desired objectives. At the same time, identifying the gaps, the real challenges and limitations, and of course, the way for commendable, but it should not, as reported by National Research Council, most of the cognitive research on preparing teachers for teaching has focused on students' learning rather than teaching or teachers' learning. At the same time, I appreciate that UGC has tried to focus and limitations on the right path. Today we are trying to discuss it. It should not, as it has been concluded several times, that to develop competence in an area of inquiry, the teacher must know three things rather than, number one, must have a deep foundation of factual knowledge. Two, understand facts and ideas in the context of a conceptual framework. It is important. And number three, organize knowledge in ways that facilitate retrieval and application. Equally important is that teacher must regularly update and have a grasp of the growth and development of students' thinking about these concepts. It is the success parameter. Many of my friends know that I declined the offer of an appointment as DSP and came to research and teaching because of my preferred choice. It is a very satisfying profession. I always tell my colleagues that those who are teachers by virtue of compulsion must convert compulsion into choice. They will enjoy it. Understandably, my experience has been watching higher education more closely than the school education. My school education knowledge is only to the extent of observing my children's teachers. Unfortunately, many of those teachers, they lacked the right concept and were hesitant to update themselves. You know, the children tend to listen more to the teachers than their parents. No doubt, teachers make a difference. Many times, we mistakenly consider teaching as easy task, which it is not. Many of our teachers are not trained and prepared for the job, although school teachers are B.Ed qualified, but they do not update themselves regularly. Likewise, the college and university teachers are PhD and NET qualified, but many of them lack training, which is otherwise very essential. As a solution to it, we, through UGC, do organize teachers' orientation program after their appointment. But unfortunately, it is not taken with the seriousness that it demands. The academic staff colleges must prepare some instructional material and structured programs for the orientation programs, which is different in the objective from refresher courses. In 1980s, beginning of it, the Association of Indian Universities in New Delhi, which is just close to the UGC, used to organize certificate course, diploma, and advanced diploma courses on teaching methodologies, examination, and evaluation through distance mode. Undoubtedly, these were very useful. I was fortunate to attend each of these three courses and pass them all with O grade. I could also find perceptible improvement in my aptitude as a teacher. That is why I'm trying to stress on it. I believe UGC can reactivate the AIU for organizing these courses for university teachers. Further, there could be individual teacher certification program or say accreditation, like it is done for scientists in the USA. Other challenges we confront include our dependence on bookish knowledge within the confined boundaries of the prescribed syllabi. Practical and field study has gone out of the bounds of curricula. There is a need to bring a research component in every curriculum. I am very happy that the new education policy is trying to inculcate this aspect. This is possible, however, if adequate funds and infrastructure are made available in every institution. In many of the state-funded universities, several posts have been lying vacant for several years. Guest faculties are appointed on lecture basis to get the formalities completed. This is not the way we can build the institution. I am sharing my opinion before an enlightened audience. We cannot close our eyes like a pigeon to the threat of lowering standards. These are the threats we are facing. These are the challenges. These are limitations with us. Looking at vast population, Government of India alone cannot meet the demand for education. The private players have to share the responsibility. However, unfortunately, the platforms between public funded and private universities are unequal. The private universities, which are contributing immensely to the national objective of GER and creation of new knowledge and capacity building that Dr. Jain was referring to, they have to struggle for funds and support. The regulatory mechanisms are also not uniform. This aspect, I would suggest, also needs to be addressed for institutional building and development. I should not be consuming the share of time of my colleagues in the panel. So with these thoughts, I tend to stop and again express my gratitude to you all for listening to my views on the topic. If you ask me the few dot lines on which we should focus, one is we must strengthen the school education. Number two, there should be a licensing exam or a certification for teachers' appointment. Everybody cannot be appointed as a teacher. Third, orientation courses must be structured with syllabi and these need to be graded. Number four, we need to reactivate AIU for organizing online diploma programs on teaching methodologies, examination and evaluation, the like in 1980s. And number fifth, last but not the least, private players must be supported for their sharing of the government's commitment for removing disparities between public and private funded institutions in regulatory mechanisms and financial support. With these words, I thank you so much for giving me this time and listening to my views. Thanks so much. You are on mute, Dr. Jain.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Kohli, for enlightening us. And as you have rightly summed up, there are a few points which I will take up at the end of the comments from all the eminent speakers, and that at the end, then I'll take up some questions on some of the points which you have raised.
Okay. Dr. Jain, if I can be excused, because as I told you, the Minister of Education, State of Punjab, has already arrived on the university campus. There is another program where I am also deliver a lecture. If there is any question, I can, answer just now, or I can come, but I will not be able to come back from the function. Functions are already started.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Diksha, can we invite questions now? Otherwise, thank you, Professor Kohli. You may leave. And yeah, thank you so much for giving your precious time to us. Thank you. Thank you.
I am grateful to you all. Thank you so much. Good luck. God bless. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Professor Kohli, Professor Jain,
Yes.
from UGC, I'm Professor D.K. Shrivastava. Some of the questions which are possible questions with Professor Kohli could be answered by other panel members. And of course, being chairperson, you can take care of that.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you thank you so much. Thank you.
And now, can we have our next eminent speaker, Professor Sushma Yadav, who is the UGC Commission member also, and ex-Vice Chancellor of a state government university in Haryana. Professor Sushma Yadav,
Yes,
can
sir.
we have? Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Chairman UGC, Professor Jagdish Kumarji, who has introduced today's panel also. Honorable Vice Chairman UGC, Professor D.K. Srivastavji, Secretary UGC, Professor Rajneesh Jainji, the chairperson of today's session, or today's national level online panel discussion, which is day 3rd also, and Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor V.K. Jainji, my fellow panelists, Professor R.K. Kohli, who's just spoken, Professor Parikshit Singh Manhart, Director, School of Hospitality and Tourism, University of Jammu, and Professor M. Krishnan, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Tamil Nadu, and all dear colleagues and educationists and esteemed guests who have joined this panel discussion. सबसे पहले मैं विश्वविद्यालय अनुदान आयोग के आदरणीय अध्यक्ष और उपाध्यक्ष और सचिव तीनों का हृदय से अभिनंदन करना चाहती हूं कि उन्होंने शैक्षिक पर्व जैसी एक संकल्पना हमारे सामने रखी है, जिसको हम शिक्षक दिवस के रूप में मनाते थे। वह अब केवल एक दिवस नहीं है, एक पर्व बन गया है और शैक्षिक पर्व है जो पूरे सप्ताह चलने वाला है। इसके लिए मैं उनका अभिनंदन करना चाहती हूँ। आप सब शिक्षकों और शिक्षार्थियों और शोधार्थियों को बधाई देना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि हम सब शिक्षा जगत से जुड़े हैं और ये शैक्षिक पर्व है जिस पर हम शिक्षा के विषय में महत्वपूर्ण विषयों पर चर्चा कर रहे हैं। तो मेरी बधाई भी और शुभेच्छा भी। और प्रारंभ करने से पहले अपने साथी परंतु माननीय कुलपति प्रोफेसर V.K. जैन जी, कुलपति तेजपुर विश्वविद्यालय का हृदय से धन्यवाद करना चाहती हूँ कि उन्होंने मुझे इस पैनल डिस्कशन के साथ शैक्षिक पर्व की इस एक महत्वपूर्ण क्रिया के साथ जोड़ा और आज आप सबसे बात करने का अवसर दिया। और ये विषय ऐसा है जो हर शिक्षक को मन से और हृदय से पसंद होगा, क्योंकि शिक्षक की भूमिका शिक्षा में, ऑल राइट, आई विल कम टू दैट। थैंक यू सो मच। शुड आई रिपीट दिस ऑल्सो? So I compliment our Honorable Chairman and Vice Chairman and Secretary UGC for having this great celebration of Shikshak Parv, which is Teachers' Festival, if I can translate it into English. And I would like to thank Professor V.K. Jain, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Tejpur University, for inviting me to this very, very important online panel discussion. The discussion is important because teachers are the focal point of all changes which happen in the education world. And for the NEP 2020, where the learner is at the focus of learning and giving, the teacher is at the focus of all the changes which NEP 2020 envisages. Therefore, This theme of today's panel discussion, I would say, is very important. Without teachers, no change can happen. And without teachers, no institution can, in fact, be an excellent institution. They remain the most central ingredient of the entire education structure, education edifice, or education system, as we say. The time is very less and teachers have the habit to speak more, so I'll try to talk in points. Till now, it was thought that investment in capital-intensive industries would lead the country to development and growth. However, it's realized now in the global knowledge economy that production of knowledge is the most important part of developing a nation. And production of knowledge cannot happen without the teacher being ready for it, without the teacher being equipped for it, and without the institutions being capable of facilitating production of knowledge on part of teachers. So I would remember a great saying, individuals create communities, but it is institutions alone that can create a nation. And thus, when we talk of institution building, it is also nation building. राष्ट्र का निर्माण शिक्षक का दायित्व होता है और वह संस्था के निर्माण के साथ हो सकता है. Therefore, development of institutions, educational institutions especially, is of great significance for any nation, but more so in the present context in India, where we are preparing to take off. And when the globe is watching us and the globe is looking at us, there is crisis, but still we are ready to take off as an economy which is on thrives towards Atmanirbhar Bharat and Sashakt Bharat. I believe higher education can play the most vital role in this respect. And therefore, the development of quality institutions remains the most important function of the higher education sector. And the University Grants Commission has reiterated, reinforced this time and again. It has said higher education is very important for the growth of and development of human beings, good individuals, good citizens, who alone can take the responsibility for social, economic, and scientific development of the country. And as the destiny of the country is being shaped in the classrooms, the nation building process takes its form and momentum in the institution itself. So when I talk about role of teachers in the institutions or in building the institution, I take it to be their role in building the nation also, which goes along with the higher education institutions. Now, if we talk about how an institution is built or how to build an institution, there are many roles or multiple responsibilities of various actors or stakeholders in the entire education edifice. The allocation of funds, increasing the gross enrollment ratio, pooling of appropriate responsible resources for the development of educational institutions is the responsibility of the government and the governmental agencies, also society, I would say, but developing or transforming the same into a quality institution is the responsibility of and to be performed by the academic fraternity working in the institution. Here, the role of teachers becomes the most important. And the institution building is not a one-time process. It is a continuous process which is to be performed with a vision, with an involvement, and then it brings long-lasting results also. So if we say, what is the role of teachers? The role of teachers is to build the dreams of a generation for a collective future, which and the history of a rich past. The vision must depend on both of them, a collective future and a shared glorious history or the glory of the past. Then the teachers can have a vision which the new generation or the younger generation will be able to believe in and will be able to be participant of, without losing on what is essential and what is definitive. So that kind of vision only a teacher can give. And one of the major strategies available to teachers for discharging this responsibility of institution building is also by nation building and facilitating institution building by quality institutions and quality learning, which is important for institutions. And how to build better institutions or excellent institutions is to do exceptional things, to realize the vision, which is also a vision for the future, but which is also based on what is attainable. And only those can attain it who think of doing remarkable, exceptional, extraordinary things, because their students also then believe in that kind of vision, and the institutions are built on that. Now, in order to facilitate institution building process and a quality institution building process, every teacher must have a vision and mission of her or his own as well, in addition to the institutional vision and mission, which must be complementary and supplementary to the development of the institution. And I'm sure the present day teachers would have the capacity, capability, and will to have that kind of mission. Teachers are the basic actors or the basic functionaries who preserve, design, redesign, and transmit the organizational culture among the students, and who are key to the future of the nation. I am again and again linking it with the nation, because institutions alone have no meaning. They have a meaning with the nation. And development of innovative schemes of collaboration between institutions of higher learning and higher education and the different sectors of society must be ensured by teachers and the stakeholders in the higher education system. And such research programs would effectively contribute to local, regional, and national development. I'm very sure about it. The teachers are, for this role, expected to maintain functional relationships with society and with the other developmental agencies in the entire system and contribute to their development as well, because this is how relationships are built and this is how institutions are strengthened. So they must play that crucial role. The role of heads in institution building is always important, but heads also basically are teachers. And I would say all the heads of the institutions, of the higher education institutions, whether universities or research institutes or institutes of national importance or IITs or NITs, they do retain the role of teacher, only they start guiding their colleagues and the peer. And I think that relationship must be kept in mind. Therefore, we must understand the institutions do not develop in isolation. It is the sustainability of quality and functional relationships with the other functionaries and other organizations of the society, sharing the same vision and commitment, which leads to an excellent institution. And the head of institution can provide the leadership and facilitate such roles instead of causing hurdles. If we say institution building is one of the professional strategies or professional development, then we must also look at strategies which are essential for building quality higher education institutions and which teachers surely can play their role in. I would say they have a very important role in facilitating learner transformation. In the changing times in which NEP 2020 is leading us to, the learner transformation is very important, and to build a great institution, the teachers will have to play this role, and only they can play this role. I can't explain it more because of the paucity of time. I'm sure you all are teachers and you all have been teachers, so you'll understand when I say one sentence only. They must be able to clearly spell out institutional vision and mission along with their own vision and mission, which must be clear, which must be shared, and which must move with the times and demands of the time. Then they must develop an attitude of acceptance. I think for institution building, That's most important. NEP expects something from the teachers. NEP expects something from the leaders also, the leaders of or the heads of the institutions. And what is expected there can be debated, can be in fact shared by all, but ultimately we can move on that road when we accept that role which is given to us. We understand the world is dynamic and the mission and vision may be changing, but we must innovate with concepts, innovate with practices, innovate with our own styles or pedagogies. That teacher can only lead to an institution which is exceptional or which is innovative in its own self. Universities or higher education institutions are known by production and sharing of knowledge. And I'm sure without teachers, no knowledge production can take place. So here again, for building an institution and for creating or production of the knowledge, the teachers have most important role by engaging themselves and their students and their researchers for production and dissemination of knowledge. The knowledge must be able to align itself with local requirements and the global expectations also. Then creating connectivity with other systems in the society is another important aspect of institution building. Like Unnat Bharat Abhiyan is asking us to go to villages, asking IITs to connect with the villages, because without developing villages, the nation can't develop. Similarly, which may be the higher education institution or the research institution as it is. Besides, developing effective and functional industry institution partnership is also one important aspect of developing a great institution or a strong institution, which the teachers again play the most important role by providing quality human resources, technologies, know-how, etc., etc. And in the times of crisis or in the times of crunch, effective pooling and utilization of resources remains another important aspect of institution building, which the teachers ultimately will have to play the role. I'm very happy to share here, you all must have heard that UGC has launched some very, very important schemes for teachers on the Teachers' Day, which has started or preceded this Shikshak Parv, which are research grants for in-service faculty members, Dr. D.S. Kothari research grant for newly recruited faculty members, and fellowship for superannuated faculty members. So it's an effort to combine the innovative minds or the fresh minds with the experienced minds or the experienced wisdom. And I'm sure a combination of this will lead to institutions which are in fact great. And I'll just take one more minute. I know the time is running fast. The other teacher-centric schemes I would just like to share because I'm sitting here. Guru Dakshata, which prepares the new teachers, which we did not have the opportunity to, in fact, have in our times. So, and then fostering social responsibility and community engagement in higher education institutions under the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. Mulya Pravaha, a guideline for inculcation of human values and ethics in higher educational institutions. Stride, the scheme for transdisciplinary research for India's developing economy. CARE, the consortium for academic and research ethics, so that we can really produce knowledge which is well respected and well recognized. And travel grants, MOOCs, leadership for academic program, LEAPS, and scholarship scheme through DBT. These are some of the few schemes which I'm sure will inspire teachers, and in turn, the teachers would take institutions to their next stage, which is better than today and ultimately the best in the entire world. Aapne mujhe avsar diya. Thank you very much for providing me this opportunity, and I compliment you once again.
Thank you, Professor Yadav, for a very wonderful lecture. And there were some salient features. For a start, you mentioned that the teachers are the central actors. for any institutional development plan. And you also mentioned refreshingly that they are also agents of learner transformation. You also stressed upon the need for engagement with the community, because after all, the institutional responsibility as a higher education institution is to engage with community and to make whatever little change for better in the life of the community or the society. Very important, another factor you mentioned was that any institutional development plan should have forging this linkage with the industry. And this is where the role of the teachers in terms of both their intellectual capital input as well as the equipment, etc., which are at the disposal of the teacher concerned. So that should be leveraged. But you also summarized whatever schemes are available for the benefit of the teachers, and very importantly for the young faculty members who are entering this profession. You did mention this Kothari Fellowship for the newly inducted faculty. So this is a very novel scheme of the UGC. Earlier we used to have, if you recall, the seed money being given to the newly inducted faculty, but this is one notch a better scheme as far as the the grants for the newly inducted faculty is concerned. And more importantly, I think the sum and substance of your talk was that the development of the institution has to go hand in hand, and in fact it should lead to the development of the nation, or the developmental imperatives of the nation. So thank you so much. It has been a very very enlightening talk from your side, and as always, so I once again thank you so much, madam. Thank you. May I now
Thank you.
May I invite the next eminent speaker, Professor P.S. Manhart from Jammu University, for his views on the theme of this event. So, Professor Manhart, please. Professor Manhart, are you online? In case Professor Manhart is not able to join us, then may I request Professor Krishnan of Central University, Tamil Nadu, to give his views. Professor Krishnan, please.
Sir, Professor Manhart
Hello.
is there.
Hi. Yeah, I'm
okay.
here.
Okay.
I'm here. Actually, I was not being allowed to unmute myself. So
okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Yeah. Thank you, Professor Manhart. Thank you.
Yeah. Very good afternoon. Very good afternoon to the Honorable Chairperson UGC, Professor Jagdish Kumarji. Very good afternoon to the Honorable Vice Chairperson Srivastava sir, Professor Srivastava ji, Secretary UGC Professor Rajneesh Jain ji, my fellow panelists R.K. Kohli ji, Professor R.K. Kohli ji, Professor Sushma Yadav ji, and other panelists, and obviously the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Tezpur University for giving this opportunity to me to present today and talk to such galaxy of stars over here. There are so many eminent speakers around, and there are so many eminent panelists around. It really gives me lots and lots of pleasure to present my thoughts in front of all of you. I'm blessed to be given this opportunity. My idea, obviously, I know I've been given 10 minutes. I'll try to wind it off in 10 minutes. My idea of about how to prepare teachers for institutional development. I've jotted down 5 very important aspects which I feel are very important for any teacher to be developed and to be built up. First of all, I'll start with the vision. Every teacher as well as an institution should build up a vision. And this vision should be centered around, again, another 5 aspects. First is access. As a teacher, my education, my knowledge, my support should be accessible to every individual of this country, every person within this world. So teacher should be easily accessible. That's a very important thing. And when you're trying to build up your vision, when you're trying to build up yourself as a teacher, see that your thoughts are accessible to everybody. Your thoughts should be very equitable. It should not be that you have a limited sort of a knowledge, limiting sort of factors, which are actually not equate everybody on a same platform. Your vision should be developed in such a manner that it equates everybody on the same platform. And this is a very, very important aspect if we want to build up new India. Our vision should hold quality. That's another very important aspect. Obviously, what we do is we don't build up quality within our thoughts. We don't build up that quality within our processes. That is a very important aspect which we should look at. Whatever education that I'm trying to impart, whatever education as a teacher or as an institution I'm trying to impart, it should be affordable. So your vision should be to develop an affordable education. And above all, the last thing that should be part of every vision, every teacher's vision, every institutional building vision is accountability. Whatever things that you're developing, whatever processes that you're working on, whatever future ready generation you are trying to build up, whether it is based upon your national education policy or any other aspects that you should be accountable for what you're working on. That's a very important aspect. And these are some of the 5 things: access, equity, quality, affordability, and accessibility. These I feel are very 5 important components which every teacher should have in his or her vision. Every institution should have in his or her own vision. These are very, very important aspects. The second thing that I wanted to talk about was what should be the role of teachers? What should the role that they should look at in building future-ready students or future-ready employable students or future-ready students who are actually going to take this country forward, our youth? First is build up an environment, try to provide them such sort of information, such sort of education, which helps them to collaborate with others. What happens is we all build up our own castles. We all have our own egos. We all built up our own ecosystems and we remain within that. The world is growing only because of collaboration. Only those entities, those companies which are growing as unicorns, or those countries are growing which are willing to collaborate with your other ecosystems. So as a teacher, your role should be to build up students who are very good, yes, but they are open for collaborations. They are open to work with other entities around the globe. They are willing to work with other entities within the system. Second role should be vis-a-vis, as a teacher, you should try to create that value within that your stakeholders. What I would say is value creation. As a teacher, create that value for your students. Your students should further be able to become those value creators. This is an important aspect, because if we look at our national education policy also, and the vision of our government, the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, it is towards creating value within the system, vis-a-vis industry is concerned, vis-a-vis administration is concerned, and all these aspects are concerned. And the third aspect is implementation. Whatever thoughts you are helping your students to inculcate, or you're trying to build up those thoughts within your students, you should also make them understand how these thoughts could be implemented within the practical world. That's an important aspect, because sometimes what happens is we have those thoughts, we have those ideas in our mind. This is the fourth point that I'm clubbing. The third and fourth are going simultaneously. That is ideation. So ideation and implementation go side by side, where I'm trying to refer to the fact that it's your role as a teacher to help those students ideate, get up with those thoughts, and see that how they can be implemented. The way since 2014, this country is turning around with Make in India programs, with Skilling India programs, with Startup India programs, and we are seeing the results today. We have our own INS Vikrant today. So that's what it is. If we as teachers play a role of proper ideation vis-a-vis our students are concerned, and help them in implementing those ideas, we will be a game changer. I think in times to come, we'll have many big projects being developed within our country, which will be game changer for us. We are the 5th largest economy in the world. Only a couple of days back, we became the 5th largest economy. And the day is not far when we'll be the biggest economy within the world. What should be the prominent principles? The third aspect of my talk today is what should be the prominent principles that teachers should follow. Very important. Again, it will have 5 subsets. First is cooperative learning. One of the principles as a teacher that you all should look towards is cooperative learning. Why? Because everybody does not have access to learning environments. Create an environment. Create a learning environment which pulls up the laggards also. People who are followers, they are also pulled up. You help them grow also. So students should build up such a mindset. As a teacher, you should help students build up such a mindset that there is a cooperative learning within the system. Everybody should be taken along. And as one of my fellow panelists was talking about the fact the GER, the gross enrollment ratio, obviously it will grow if we have cooperative learning amongst us. The second aspect over here amongst the prominent principles that I've always referred towards is constructive approach. Have a very, very positive, constructive approach. Build up that constructive mindsets amongst your students. There are so many distractions available for our students. Social media has been a boon also, but somehow it has also created so many distractions for our students. Their negativity sometimes overflows. So be very emphatic in the fact that one of the principles that you're going to follow is a constructive approach of teaching and helping students to work within that constructive approach. Experimental learning. This is what our national education policy is talking about. This is what the vision of our country is there. This is what our country will make our country one of the largest economies of the world or the biggest economies of the world. Experiential learning, because we want everybody to create resources, not just consume resources. So if you will experience, if you learn, you will be also able to modify changes. You'll also be able to bring about things. And here comes the fourth aspect, that is use and integration of technology. Another principle is use and integration of technology. Be it any field, be it medical sciences, be it airlines, be it hospitality, be it tourism studies, any field, technology interventions are the ones which are bringing about innovation. Technology interventions are the ones which are bringing about change. So you should follow a principle of technology interventions vis-a-vis your teaching is concerned, which is linked with my 5th principle, that is ICT also. So you should try to do that, follow this ICT, follow this technology intervention, and make your students also understand that whichever field that they are following, whether it is history, whether it is political science, see how technology could be used, how technology could make that learning more better, how technology could make that learning more experiential, and how you could make use of that ICT to make that learning a better thing for everybody. The fourth aspect is model approach. What should be the model approach to be followed by a teacher? The 4 things that I feel over here is anticipation. As a teacher, you should anticipate what students are looking for. What are the needs, wants, and desires of my students? What are the needs, wants, and desires of the society in times to come? And anticipate them. And based upon those lines, draft your thought processes, draft your knowledge, and provide it to the students. Another thing is reflexivity. I want my teachers to be very, very reflexive. What happens is we all follow cricket and other sports. We see how quickly they catch a ball, how quickly they play. So if teachers are very reflexive, what happens is you understand students' ideas. Even before students start speaking, you understand what his background is, what thoughts he has in, what negativity or positivity he has, and you can modify your lectures accordingly. So this is your model approach. Be very reflexive to what your environment is all about, how your environment is behaving. Be very, very reflexive. And the third thing, again, this you might feel is a repetition, but I'm very big fan of it, is inclusiveness or inclusions. I always say, take everybody along. Please take everybody along. People from the marginalized communities, any community, anywhere, any caste, color, creed, sex, anybody, high, rich, poor, everybody, inclusiveness. Your approach should be such that it should include inclusivity. Take everybody in such a manner that they are able to learn and earn from your thoughts. And the last model approach is responsiveness. Whatever your students are penning down, whatever thoughts your students are coming up, look at them, how they're responsive, how much responsive they are, how much they are building it up, and see to it that you are responsive towards them. And you are responsible for everything that they built up. And the last but not the least part of my talk is going to be the 5 mantras that I would like to give. Obviously, these 5 mantras are not my mantras. I heard Honorable Prime Minister also speak about them, and he was the one who was expressing, and I modified them a little bit, but I started working on them. And these 5 mantras are 5 AEIOU. First is, as a teacher, be very adaptable, be efficient. E stands for efficient. And I again comes to my favorite word, that is inclusivity. O stands for work on every opportunity that comes to you. And the last one is the universalism. I always feel that whatever education that we are imparting, India is a global leader. हमारी जो संस्कृति है, हमारी जो knowledge systems हैं, will make India as a global leader. Nobody can stop us. So we as teachers from today have to look at a universal attitude. We have to convince the world, and our thoughts should be such that they should be universally adaptable. Because if not today, if not tomorrow, but in days to come, by the time my students grow up, we will be a universal leader. And prepare them in such a manner. You all as teachers should prepare them in such a manner that universalism should be the basic things. So these are the 5 mantras with which I would like to end my session today: adaptability, efficiency, inclusivity, opportunity, and universalism. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity. I thank Tezpur University. Around 2:30 today, around 50 minutes back or 1.5 hours back, I got a call that I have to come and speak over here. And I was thrilled. Within these 30 minutes, whatever thoughts I could build up, whatever thoughts I could have, I wanted to express them. In the chat box, I'll share my details also. If anybody has any questions for me at a later stage, also can express. But I'm really grateful to be present amongst such an august gathering, and grateful to the Honorable Chairperson of UGC, Vice Chairperson of UGC, and the Vice Chancellor of Tezpur University. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Professor Manhart, for a wonderful talk. I think takeaways from your speech are not only these 5 mantras which you mentioned at the end of your talk, but for me, there were a couple of others. One of them was providing enabling environment to the students for collaboration. That was something which you mentioned. And another one was that you create value for the students, value addition in the students. Then another point which you mentioned was that you inculcate this ability in the students to ideate and equip them with these skill sets for their implementation, for the implementation of those ideas. And one more thing which you mentioned was about the convergence of vision of the individual with that of the institution. And that is something was really refreshing to hear, because very often the teachers are in a dilemma, whether their career is more important, their research output and what have you, getting the grants, etc. Is that more important as opposed to their contribution into the in the building of the institution? Because some of the teachers very consciously refrain from getting into the administration and in very important bodies of the university, because for them their individual growth is more important. But what you mentioned was that there should not be this exclusion of the individual vision or individual aspirations with the aspirations of the institution. I think that was something very thoughtful of you to have made this this idea before everyone. So thank you so much. And Now, may I request the
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, Professor Krishnan. Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, please. Good afternoon to everybody. Thanks to Chairman UGC and their colleague UGC and my dear respected Professor Jain, Tezpur University Vice Chancellor, for giving the wonderful opportunity to discuss on the topic, preparing the teacher for the institutional development. First of all, I thank UGC and also MHRD for celebrating this Teachers' Day from 5th to 9th September 2022. It shows that how they are giving the importance to the teachers. So I have to thank. And also this is that occasion I can salute my teachers. Those who are bringing me to such a position. So teachers are very important to shape any student, any faculty to go for the upper level. My dear participants, I can see that the huge number of participants are here. I always think about it, how the teachers are very important. From childhood onwards, we are hearing Mada Bida Guru Devam. So how they are keeping the teachers in a position, in the respectable position in the not only the nation, throughout the world. But teachers should understand that how we have to act, not only the development of the institution, but for the development of the nation. Our great leader Mahatma Gandhi rightly told that the higher education will be respect only when the higher education should take that message or product to the society. Then only it will be respected properly by the society. Our great saint, Vivekananda rightly told that teachers are not the machine to accumulate that knowledge to that students, but also they have to give the proper way to shape their, the people. They have to go for a good moral people. They have to go for a honest people. Like that, Vivekananda told that the teachers should give the proper knowledge to students to develop themselves as a good citizen of a nation. So today, teachers are a very important role. Why I am taking this message? Every ranking criteria, if you are taking the NAC, we are admitting the good students, we are developing that good curriculum, we are fixing that very good teacher, qualified teachers, they are doing wonderful research, then student support is there, good governance is there, environmental problems are there. They are all going to be considered to take the institution in the higher ranking. But who is going to take the main role to bring all this is teachers. So teachers should play a major role. The earlier speaker rightly told that they are not looking for their progress, but also they have to look into the progress of the institution and the nation. So, my dear friends, this is the occasion what I want to tell that teachers, yes, very important to focus on curriculum, but the focus should see that how it's practically important for the society. That's the first thing. They have to consider this idea. Then only they can be a good teachers. Not only, again, I am telling it, not only for the institution, but also the nation. Second thing, the institution should provide a proper environment for my teachers to take the curriculum in practical way. That is a very, very important thing. Why? Because earlier, the age group like us, we are calling the nation is knowledge consumers. But today, the present situation is knowledge producers. What I try to tell that the higher education knowledge should identify that the excellence should convert as a product. The product should go to the society. That's the way the present situation of the higher education is going on. So the teachers should have the belongingness to that education and the institution. Then they have to develop such a way that how your curriculum or take your curriculum to find out the excellence leads to innovation. That innovation too should go to the society. That's a very, very important thing that teachers should work for that. The next step, what the institution to give to my teachers, they have to give the proper environment. As Professor Jain rightly told that, the teachers are coming from different sources with qualified teachers, but they have to have a proper digital knowledge to face the students or take that new message to the students and society. So they should have the proper training and infrastructure to provide their knowledge to the young students. Next step, as rightly my first speaker Kohli told that, the teachers should have a proper training. Proper training means they have to have some workshop or orientation programs where they have to feed with that a new knowledge into my teachers. Then only they are going to again reflect to my young students. Another very important thing, everywhere we are talking about feedback system. The feedback system is very important, but how properly it is utilized into the institution is very important. For example, everywhere we are taking the feedback system, not only the students, we are getting from the stakeholders and everywhere. But that feedback results should be implemented properly. The feedback results should go to the teachers properly. It shows that the SWOT analysis of the teacher is very important. That is, what is the strength of the teacher? What is the weakness of the teachers? What is the opportunity of the teachers? What is the threat of the teachers? They should know that. By that, they have to give the opportunity to develop the knowledge, develop the expertise to the students. And my dear participants, the teacher participants, particularly I want to tell, we are the real bridge, because I no need to tell that India is at where we are having diversity of people. But teachers should act to bridge, to connect these people from different parts of the country, different part of the world. Such a way, the institution should give the proper training to my teachers. That is a very important thing. Earlier, on occasion study, I read about it, that T-shaped education is very important, because the central stem is not going to say that curriculum, then branches will say that their employment or entrepreneurship. But recently, everybody is focusing on the teachers should give that umbrella-like education. What I mean that the STEM, what you are going to see the curriculum. Curriculum is not only should give the knowledge, but they should give the knowledge how the students are going to utilize properly to go for, to get that moral out of my knowledge, honesty out of my knowledge, ethics out of my knowledge, entrepreneur, how I can take it from my teachers. So umbrella life education will give the good protection for my teachers, for my students. That's the way that teachers should train themselves. That is a very, very important thing. Finally, I told that in different occasion, I told that when I am coming from a village, the university is also available or in that situated near the Delta region where so many villages are around. As Jane rightly told that, we should not take our progress alone. How our expertise, our product, our excellence, our innovation going to help my society. That's a very important thing, because as rightly told that all my speakers, the entry into the higher education is reaching higher level, particularly if you are coming to Tamil Nadu. We already reached the 50%. The nation is working for the 2030, where we reach the 50% of higher education enrollment. But that enrollment is not very important. But how my teachers should work together, and then they are going to contribute to that institution, which take our nation into the higher level. One thing I want to tell that when we were as a student, my teachers are having, because different expertise that teachers are having, they are come together at least weekly once or monthly twice. They will have that a teachers club in the university. They will exchange their ideas. They exchange their ideas in practical way, and then they will tell the way how to implement to that not only students and also the society. So the present situation, the teachers say that they are having the workload higher, curriculum is so heavy, they don't have the time to think about it. So where is the lack now? How we are going to provide that time for my teacher to think more and deliberate more to my students? That is also very important. So teachers alone cannot improve the institution or a nation. They can take a very big role, but the institution governance, the government and everybody should work together. We have to give the proper way to my teachers to bring that what you called their expertise to the students. That's the only one way we can uplift that institution. 4 important points, Chutra, I can say that, my dear teachers, kindly provide the platform for my students to come out from the curriculum. They should not be in the curriculum alone. They have to bring out the vision to the students, how they can improve in the life. Number 2, in this present situation, without collaboration and cooperation, we can't achieve the things. That is the second point I want to insist that. Because the example what we are having, the discovery of the vaccine, it's because of that collaboration and cooperation for the corona. Number 3, anything you can do in the education, but you should have the sustainability. That is a very, very important thing. The 4th point, what I want to insist here is globalization and internalization. As my chairman UCC, 3 days back, he insisted on how to collaborate with the foreign universities, how to bring that that expertise to India and Indian experts to foreign country, and to develop a product, which is that what you called that the products from India, without the help of anybody. That things should be available. Finally, I request my teachers, whatever you are teaching, whatever the expertise you have, don't forget our culture. Because pre-colonial, please think about it. Every resources we have, but we forget about everything. So my dear teachers, my dear students, my dear experts, kindly take back our culture and tradition and bring that India as a great height. Once again, thank you very much for one and all for giving the opportunity. Thank you very much. Sir, you are put on the mic, sir. Please, Jain sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Krishnan, for a very nice talk. Just to summarize the essence of your talk, you made a mention of that the teachers should be able to provide proper knowledge to the students with ethical grounding. I think that was the first point you made. The second point you made, which was a very important one, that the curriculum design ought to be such, and the delivery of the contents, etc., by the teacher should be such that the students should be able to develop certain skill sets for innovation. That innovation should lead to the betterment of the society and the country. The very important point which you raised was about the feedback system. So if there is a feedback, again, in respect of the performance of the teacher concerned, then the strengths and the weaknesses of the teacher should be made available to all the teachers. I think a lot of universities in the country do have this feedback system, a very rigorous feedback system. But how this the corrective measures are being taken by different institutions, this is one big gray area. But yes, the suggestion is very well made. And the another point which you mentioned was about the collaboration between the not only between the individuals but between the institutions for better synergy among the efforts and the resources for better results. But the common thread, I must say, among all these talks by the eminent speakers, Professor Kohli, Professor Sushma Yadav, and Professor Manhart, and now Professor Krishnan, the common thread was that whatever the developmental plans or whatever the institutional development plans are there, they have to finally lead to the betterment of the society. That is the bottom line: betterment of the society and for the development of our country. So with this, I would now request the participants, if they have any questions for the speakers. But there was one question which I noted, and perhaps someone from UGC, maybe Secretary Saab, if you can respond to this. There was a question from somebody in Maharashtra which says that there are so many vacant positions, nearly 50% vacant positions in some institution. And how can one ensure the quality when 50% of the teaching positions are lying vacant? So there is an appeal to UGC to impress upon the government there that the positions ought to be filled up as fast as you can. So this is the appeal made by one of the participants to the University Grants Commission. So can we expect some response, or since this is a education is a concurrent state subject, so I don't know. Professor Rajneesh Jain or the Honorable Vice Chairman, UGC, if you would like. if you would like to respond to this.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Jain. Actually, this question is not relevant and related to this particular topic. But anyway, because the engagement of teachers is very important for the development of the students. So UGC is very well aware about this issue. And I think, as you have rightly mentioned, that this is on concurrent list of the Constitution. And UGC is supporting the universities and institutes in completing this backlog cycle. And I think there has been answers given several times by honorable ministers and honorable officials from time to time. But we have noted down this point, and we will take it up in our subsequent discussions at the UGC level, and we'll get back to that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and there is a question from Dr. Sunita. So Dr. Sunita, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? There is a hand raised by Dr. Sunita for asking a question. Yeah, Dr. Sunita, can you ask your question, please? Dr. Sunita, can you hear me? Hello?
It's good evening, sir. Respected sir. Sir. Sir, good evening. Yeah. Good evening, all of you, my dear learned colleagues. Sir.
You have muted yourself.
She can write her question in the chat box because we are already maybe taken this extra time. So yeah, she can write the question on the chat box if she is not audible, or maybe there are some internet issues.
Sir, good evening, sir.
It's not audible.
Sir, good evening, sir. It's not audible, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Sunita,
okay, sir. I'll write on the chat box, sir.
Yeah, please.
I will write on the chat box, sir, so that.
Yeah, please do that.
Okay, sir.
The question is, sir, can you nominate well-trained faculties to make this program reach more people? So, Honorable Vice Chairman, Sir, Professor Srivastava?
Yes, this is an ongoing exercise by University Grants Commission, and we are not going to end with a weekly kind of thing. Probably we'll plan some more activities. And because this is a celebration that is happening there, but maybe there will be more occasions. And today UGC is focusing on digital dissemination of the knowledge. So I think not only the UGC but our other partners would be taking on this mission. And I think very soon we will be announcing some more webinars, and we will see that, and in consultation with our university partners, and we'll see that if we can include some more topics, because topic that we have selected is relevant to this Shikshak Parv, but we will be maybe trying to include some more topics, and we'll be announcing it on UGC portal or maybe some other forums. So that should not be an issue. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just one final question, sir, and then after that we close this event. There's one question: kindly guide us to start an incubation center for a new institution. Dr. Malay Ghosh. Dr. Ghosh, I would submit to you that you please get in touch with any central government institution or state government institution of high ranking, which is in your neighborhood. Please get in touch with them and take some help from the the concerned person from those institutions. What you could do is look at the website of some of the top institutions. They do have a incubation innovation policy. Most of the institutions these days have Center for Innovation and Incubation, or Incubation and Innovation Council. So you look at their look at the website of some of the top institutions, and they will have a well laid out policy with regard to the establishment of these innovation and incubation centers. That's what I would submit to you.
May I add, Professor Jan?
Yeah, please.
I think they can immediately visit to the website of Tata Institute of Social Sciences. We have a very well established and award-winning incubation center in social entrepreneurship. There is a social entrepreneurship center, and which runs incubation centers for the last, you can say, around 15 years, and around 40 incubation centers are currently working across India. So probably the person who has asked the question, and as you have rightly mentioned, I'm saying one, there could be many, but Tata Institute of Social Sciences, there is a center, an incubation center, and their necessary guidance can be given by them.
Okay, thank you, Professor Srivastav. So with this, I'm afraid we will have to close this session because we have run over time by nearly 30 minutes. So thank you, everyone, and thank you all my fellow panelists. And I would like to express my gratitude to the Honorable Chairman of UGC, Vice Chairman UGC, then Secretary UGC, all other officials of UGC, Dr. Diksha Rajput, and others, and my fellow panelists, and all the participants who have been